Next on Worcester News Tonight, a total loss. Fire destroys a 3-decker in Worcester, leaving tenants with almost nothing. Plus, a Tufts veterinary student is studying the effects music has on animals dealing with stress. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Rainy and gloomy again today in the city. I, for one, am hoping the sunshine returns. Let's get a check of our first local forecast to see if there is sun in our near future.
Hey there, good evening. I'm meteorologist Pamela Gardner. Well, we have this nor'easter that's looming just to the south and east, but here across Worcester County, for the most part, it's been a decent afternoon. It's been breezy, sure, and we've had a couple waves of light rain, but nothing like our friends along the coast. 50 to 60 mile-per-hour gusts reported on the islands and across parts of the Outer Cape. Some trees down too, light rain totals so far, and splash over during the early morning high tide. Well, live look at the radar in the center of that storm, still looming to the south and east, bringing in waves of light showers to steady rain. And our exclusive in-house forecast model shows that in Worcester, we'll continue to see the cool temperatures, northeast breeze, and waves of rain through tonight into tomorrow. The winds will stay gusty too, between 30 and 35 miles per hour through Friday morning. But once we start to see that storm move away, then improving weather as we go into the weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the 50s, rainy, a little bit breezy, but I'll show you when we'll see temps back in the 60s in your 10-day.
A 3-alarm fire destroys a Water Street building, leaving a business and the people who lived above it with very little. Worcester firefighters spent several hours battling the flames in difficult conditions. Our Cam Jandro is on Water Street tonight with those details. Cam?
Anna, the call for this fire came in around 10 a.m. this morning. Worcester Fire Chief Michael Lavoie saying the wind was a major factor in battling this fire. When the wind intensified, it made the flames bigger and more difficult to extinguish. If you have a look behind me, demolition crews are still on scene here on Water Street. This was once a 4-level building, 3 residential units on top of a business. And now it was a tough day for them as they now have very little, if anything.
Flames shoot out of a Water Street building Thursday. Worcester firefighters battled what became a 3-alarm fire, twice being ordered to evacuate the building as the flames intensified.
They encountered fire on the 3rd floor extending into the attic. There was some fire down below, but that may have been drop-down fire.
Mark Rufo owns the building and K&N Plumbing and Heating on the 1st floor. He's been here for more than 40 years. A person came into Rufo's business to warn him of the fire, and he called 911.
Tommy went up the front, and I went up the back, and he started banging on all the doors and make sure nobody was in there.
Everyone made it out safe, and there are no reported injuries. Firefighters were also able to rescue a dog from one of the apartments. Monique Hernandez's aunt lived above the plumbing business for 25 years.
My uncle was in that building, and 2 days ago was his birthday. He passed away. His ashes was in that building, and the Worcester Fire Department did everything they could to make sure he was returned to my aunt, and they found him.
Firefighters got the fire under control, but the damage was extensive and demolition crews arrived. Chief Lavoie says the 3-decker was structurally unstable.
As we were putting water on it, the roof came down. And when the roof came down, it compromised the outside walls, especially the wall in the front of the building.
According to the Red Cross of Massachusetts, 6 people were displaced. And even though his business was destroyed, Rufo is optimistic moving forward.
Tough, but we're not going away. We'll be back.
Now, thankfully, there were no injuries. The Worcester Fire Department expects to be on scene for the next several hours. There's still no official word on a cause to this fire, and we may not get one anytime soon because the building is, in fact, being torn down. We're in Worcester tonight. I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
The Worcester Fire Department will be paying respects to their fallen brothers on Sunday. Firefighters and family members are invited to the annual Firefighters Memorial. The program will honor the sacrifices firefighters make on the job and will feature a roll call of all active and retired city firefighters who have passed away this year. The ceremony will take place at the Firefighters Memorial Monument on Grove Street. The Worcester Coalition for Education Equity shares their findings of racial discrimination in the Worcester Public Schools. They're calling on lawmakers and local officials to come to the table to solve the issue. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now with more. Chandler?
On a last spring, the coalition called on school committee members and the mayor not to extend the superintendent's contract. The contract was extended with 14 amendments added as a compromise. Today, the coalition was upset not all members of the school committee attended their event.
I remember him telling me that if I continued to cry, that he was going to make a suggestion to the administration to move me to a lower grade.
Viana Mercedes recounts an experience she had with a teacher when she first moved to the U.S. She graduated from the Worcester Public Schools in 2012 and says she isn't the only one who felt a lack of empathy.
I work with kids in the Worcester Public Schools and they tell me similar stories.
The Worcester Coalition for Education Equity says the racial inequities in the district affect all students. The group addressed state lawmakers, city councilors, and school committee members Thursday. Isabel Gonzalez Webster believes the district is overusing disciplinary actions like emergency removals.
In 2017-18, Worcester Public Schools had 60% of all the emergency removals in the entire state.
Emergency removals allow schools to remove a student for 2 days if they pose a threat to themselves or others. Civil rights fellow Lauren Sampson says about 70% of last year's removals were Latino students or students of color.
You have not just a dropout crisis, but a push-out crisis, with students being sent away from the classroom, leaving them to become disengaged with their school environment and to turn to a life other than one of productivity, school engagement, and perhaps college.
Mayor Joe Petty says he's working to make sure amendments to the superintendent's contract are completed. The coalition is calling for more transparency from the schools. New state data will be released next week, and Mayor Petty says it will help the conversation.
It should be data-driven. It should be understanding. The more data you have, I think the better it'll be for the students and the parents and the system. That way you can address issues that you might be missing.
The coalition says the district is in a crisis and the community needs to address it.
How can we work together to really ensure that all our students in the Worcester Public Schools have a high-quality education?
And today, the state delegation and Congressman McGovern agreed to write a letter to the Worcester Public Schools requesting all of their data be released and the 14 amendments in the superintendent's contract be met. In Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The Worcester Redevelopment Authority is set to open the bidding process Friday for the demolition of a structure at Washington Square. The building needs to be cleared before next spring, when construction on a second hotel in the area is expected to begin. First Bristol Corp., who built the Homewood Suites across the street from the site, is planning a 96-room hotel. A $200,000 U.S. Department of Housing grant is available to the city of Worcester to cover the cost of the demolition. Researchers at WPI are working on better protecting police officers and members of the military. A new type of bulletproof vest would be able to sense and redirect the force of an incoming bullet. Engineer Nikhil Koranskokar is working with WPI students on wave motion research to create this new vest. It would be able to sense the speed, angle, and size of the bullet, as well as change its direction. Koranskokar says all bulletproof vests are typically built the same, but there are different types of bullets. This vest would be able to adapt to each one.
When a bulletproof vest is designed, it is designed to protect the policeman or soldier from a particular type of bullet. But we know at the same time that the other side could design a bullet that could get through that particular bulletproof vest. What we want to do is build a system that can sense a bullet and change its internal structure so that no matter what sort of projectile comes in, it'll adapt to it and still protect the soldier or building or whatever we are trying to protect.
Koranskokar received a $500,000 award from the National Science Foundation to fund the research. Qflix Worcester is taking over Bull Mansion for its third annual LGBTQ Film Festival. The festival shows about 30 international LGBTQ films and is the second largest of its kind in New England. Events run Thursday through Sunday and also include opening and closing celebrations and community service awards. The festival's mission is to educate and entertain the LGBTQ community and its allies.
The main goal of putting on our event is to tell the stories that are global stories, the LGBTQ plus stories. Because if we didn't tell them, who would tell them? If we don't tell our history, who will teach our history?
About 1,500 people are expected to attend. Qflix is based in Philadelphia. Worcester is the first city it's expanded to. A Tufts veterinary student is looking to help dog owners ease their pets' stress. She's testing a theory by using something many people use to relax. Can the sound of music ease anxiety in dogs? It's what Tufts veterinary student Sydney Beasy is hoping to find out.
As a pet owner, you might notice that your dog gets anxious when you leave for the day, when you leave for a few minutes, when you take them to a grooming appointment or a veterinary appointment.
Beasy spent the past few months studying 41 different dogs. She and the dog's owner would bring the animal into a classroom and then leave, creating stress for the dog.
And then while they were in the room alone experiencing that stressor, we would play music to them over the speakers, either silence as our control or music formulated for a dog's ear or human relaxation music, and then record their heart rate variability and video record them to look at their behavioral responses to the stressor and the music.
After playing the music, Beasy says they would compare dogs who were exposed to different types of music to see how their stress was affected. Tufts' Shauna Dowling-Geyer helped Beasy with her study. She says there's a fair amount of research to show dogs do respond well to certain types of music, but wants to see the results when it comes to short-term stress.
It was also really interesting to see just the different dogs and their reactions after their owner and Sydney left the room. So some dogs immediately relaxed, some wandered around and relaxed, some paced, some barked, some howled. So it was really interesting to see how different dogs, the kind of individual variation in personality and how they responded to that separation.
Beasy hopes the findings will give people an option for their pets to relax.
Music is a really great kind of low-cost, low-invasive way to reduce stress in people. So if we could find a way to translate that to dogs, it might help owners relax their dogs in situations where they get a little stressed out.
The next steps for Beasy and her advisors is to analyze the data collected. They expect to have solid findings by next summer.